Butler bats fifth and plays first base. Ladner hits sixth and will play third base. Bender, the left fielder, will hit seventh. Richardson, the designated player, will hit eighth. And Campbell, the center fielder, will hit ninth. And Briel will be on the mound for Gulf Coast. For ICC, the Coca-Cola starting lineups will have Haley Moore leading off and playing shortstop. Kat Carver, this week's player of the week in the state, will bat second and play second. Corey Watterson, the third baseman, will hit third. Kara Hopper will bat cleanup and play right field. Emily Henderson plays first base and will bat fifth. Langford, the designated player, will hit sixth. Rachel Elder, the left fielder, will hit seventh. Bonner, the catcher, will hit eighth. And Lakin Schenkel will bat ninth and play center field. Time to bring in Adam Gore into this Davis Ford pregame show. And Adam, I'm curious what's on your menu here for this evening's game between ICC and Gulf Coast.
Oh, well, to start with, Will, we're going to have to say that what's on the menu is maintaining nerves. You know, don't come out, be nervous. Just play your game. Play like you've played all year. So that's going to be the first thing the girls need to do because, you know, they're going to be worked up tight. So you don't want to come out, force anything, make a mistake that can sort of give Gulf Coast the advantage early. But it's going to be like always, solid pitching, and we've got to have the bottom half of our lineup come up with some hits today to play this because this time of the year, everybody's good and anybody can beat anybody on any given day.
That's what's on Adam's menu today. Brought to you by Sodexo. That's ICC Dining Services. Of course, Steve Miller, the GM. Joe Wallace, the executive chef. And we got quite a few of the ladies I know in the cafeterias in Tupelo and Fulton campuses listening here this afternoon. And, of course, yesterday was a huge success. They had a luau on our Fulton campus cafeteria. That was a huge hit with our ICC students along with the faculty and staff. That's Sodexo ICC Dining Services. Well, that will wrap up our Davis Ford pregame show. We're going to take a final 2-minute timeout. When we come back, we'll have the First American National Bank first pitch between ICC and Gulf Coast.
Auto Air Electric is Tupelo's only auto electrical and air conditioning service center. We offer many services to keep your auto running efficiently. Computer programming, full automotive electric repair, tune-ups, heating and AC systems, power windows and seats, cruise control, door locks, and more. Right now, we're offering GM cluster repair. We've been in business since 1990, and with our excellent staff have over 50 years of combined automotive experience. So when you need service, give us a call at Auto Air Electric, 3042 Maddox Street behind Car Credit in Tupelo.
ICC Sports on FM 95 is sponsored in part by First American National Bank in Fulton, doing business the old-fashioned way. First American National Bank with convenient locations all over Northeast Mississippi. By the Subways in Fulton, Tupelo, Saltillo, and Nettleton. Subway, eat fresh.
If you're looking for a friendly pharmacy with the fastest service in this area, head to the Family Pharmacy of Fulton. Located next to Food Giant, the Family Pharmacy of Fulton never wants a customer to wait any longer than necessary. We know you're busy, so we give your prescription top priority. The Family Pharmacy of Fulton combines modern convenience with caring customer service. Just a few of the reasons why the Family Pharmacy of Fulton has become your pharmacy of choice. Give us a call at 862-7979 or swing by the Family Pharmacy of Fulton.
ICC Sports on FM 95 is sponsored in part by Davis Ford in Fulton. Need a new car, van, or SUV? Give Davis Ford a call at 862-3711. By Coca-Cola, Coke, and ICC. Now that's the winning combination.
And by Sweet Cheeks Donut and Sandwich Shop in downtown Fulton. Sweet Cheeks is open daily for breakfast and lunch and is the only place in Fulton where you can get hot, freshly made donuts.
Will Kohlmeyer, Adam Gore back here in Fulton as we are just moments away from the First American National Bank first pitch between ICC and Gulf Coast. The Lady Indians ranked 11th in the nation, winners of 18 of their last 19. Get yourself a nice ice-cold Coca-Cola. It is game time for the ICC Lady Indians here at the state tournament. On FM 95 Sports, on FM95Radio.com, as well as our video streaming that Adam has up and running at Let'sGoICC.com. You ready, partner?
I'm ready. Let's do this thing.
I'll tell you what, the juices are flowing. I know the players and the coaches, even the broadcast team, and I know the fans are excited. And we are ready for that First American National Bank first pitch. We'll get to our Rick's Picks the Click in just a bit, brought to you by Rick's Barbecue in Fulton. Johnson in the circle, and the First American National Bank first pitch is grounded to the first baseman, to Henderson, and that takes care of the leadoff hitter, Hickman. Hickman came into the game hitting at .410 on the year. So that's a good start. Henderson unassisted at first.
Yeah, and that's what we talked about. We needed some good pitching, and good pitches don't mean strike out everybody. Easy ground balls, easy outs like that. We should be hopefully can get the bats in, get a quick three up, three down inning here, and put some runs on the board.
There's a strike called to Kraft, the catcher. Kraft hitting at .407, 2 home runs, 29 runs batted in, and there's a swing and a miss. 0-2 the count. So far, so good out of Hannah.
Yeah, and I really like her approach right now. You see she looks really relaxed on the rubber, so hopefully she can keep that confidence and sort of just keep it rolling.
There's Danny Kraft at the plate, and this one's outside. 1-2 the count. We got to get to our Rick's Picks the Click, brought to you by Rick's Barbecue here at the T intersection in Fulton. Rick Leathers, who runs the show with his wife Joni and son Brandon. This pitch is low in the dirt. Evens the count at 2-2 with 1 on and a scoreless top of the first. He always goes with the local flavor, and that's Haley Moore, the shortstop out of Itawamba AHS. Adam, after this pitch, will get your Rick's Pick to Click, brought to you by Rick's Barbecue here in Fulton. There's a swing and a milk. Just got a piece of it and fouled it off. We couldn't quite hold on to it, and the count remains 2-2.
Yeah, since I'm going to take a page out of his book, and I'm going to go with a little hometown flavor. How about Lake and Schenkel of Bruce getting the start in center field for injured Heather Dillard? So I'm going to go with Schenkel as my Rick's Pick to Click.
This one's fouled off. Well, working with you, Adam, these last 4 years on nearly 300 broadcasts, extremely superstitious. I picked Hannah Johnson as my Rick's Pick the Click last week, and both times I picked her, we won games in that best of 3 against East Central. I'm going to stick with that. Am I following your?
You're following, and I picked Dillard. She's not in the lineup, so I had to shift mine.
That's right. So we're on that same path. So the count is full. 3-2 the count to the right-handed hitting catcher Kraft. There's a swing and a miss. And Johnson records her first strikeout of the afternoon, brought to you by the Pit Stop here in Fulton.
Yeah, that's a big strikeout right there. Hannah got ahead quickly, missed the zone a couple of times trying to get her to chase, and came back in with a good fastball right on the wrist that time to get her to swing and miss and get out number 2.
Pit Stop Barbecue, call them for all your catering needs at 862-2215. First pitch is fouled out of play to the left-handed hitting Emily Davis, the second baseman, who's hitting .404 on the year.
Yeah, and she actually bounced that one off the light pole and almost came back into where the fans were sitting that time.
Very good crowd on hand, and quite a few that made the trek from the Mississippi Gulf Coast to watch this first-round matchup.
Yeah, we had a few problems with some of the signs that we had up, and the bus driver from Gulf Coast actually helped us get us back up. So had a couple of Gulf Coast fans here a little early, and they lended a helping hand, so we appreciate that.
Here's the 1-1. Fly ball, center field. Camping under it is Elder. She'll drift to her right a little bit, and that'll take care of Davis. A 3-up and 3-down. Top of the first for Gulf Coast. Throw a donut on the scoreboard. Brought to you by Sweet Cheeks Donut and Sandwich Shop. And well, I tell you what, Dr. Bunch, our boss, brought in some Sweet Cheeks donuts earlier today, and they were outstanding. We'll go to the bottom of the first. Gulf Coast 0 and ICC coming to the plate.
Introducing the new Bacon Clubhouse Sandwich at McDonald's. It's a step above ordinary sandwiches. In fact, it's about as LeBron James as a sandwich can get. It gets all up in your face, just like LeBron. It'll even dribble. Big Mac special sauce, and it stands tall with grilled or crispy chicken, or, if you prefer, 100% pure beef. Plus, it's on an artisan roll, so it's handsome, just like LeBron.
Man!
To view scores, stats, news, photos, and videos from around the MACJC. Follow us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at www.jucoweekly.org.
Welcome back to Fulton as we get ready for the bottom of the first between ICC and Gulf Coast.
Number 2, Haley Moore.
It'll be Moore, Carver, and Watterson facing Briel. Now, Briel last week came in relief in both of the games against East Mississippi. They had other starters, but she went 6 2/3 and 6 innings in both those games to pick up the wins in relief.
Yeah, and that's a big bonus for teams on this level. If you got somebody you know you can go to immediately, that's just as good as a starter, kind of like us with Kara Hopper. You know, when you got somebody like that, and you look at it, she's got some pretty good speed on some of these pitches as well.
Yeah, this week they decided just to start Paige Briel on the mound. 1.03 earned run average. That is pretty doggone good. And Haley Moore
stands in, takes that last pitch in there for a strike. 2-1 now is the count.
Her average dipped below 400 after last week's best of 3. That one's high. 3-1 the count. Haley, though, still hitting .396. Nothing to sneeze at there with 4 home runs, 40 runs batted in.
Yeah, and when we didn't have her on the base in game 2, you saw we struggled. So that's going to be key, is getting her on the bases. She's got good speed, can run, and can steal. So, getting her on in a leadoff spot is always big for the Lady Indians.
Yeah, she's the almost like the point guard. She's the scene setter. And let's see if we can set the table. This one's fouled out of play to the right of us here in the ICC Alumni Association broadcast booth. And the count is full at 3-2.
Yeah, that was a good move by the Gulf Coast catcher to come out, settle her pitcher down, because we said, these girls they're going to be worked up here for this first game, so you just want to calm them down.
Here's the 3-2, inside ball 4, and that's a great start for Haley Moore. That'll help out her .429 on base percentage. And more importantly, Haley Moore leading the state with 35 steals and 36 attempts. We get her on the base with nobody out in the bottom of the first.
Yeah, and that's big. As we said, it's important to get her on the base so we can move her around a little bit. Defenses have got to respect her. And so that kind of bothers the pitcher every once in a while for these 2, 3, 4 batters.
No score, bottom of the first, showing bunt, and Carver fouls it straight back. 0-1 the count. Kat Carver, this week's MACJC Player of the Week.
Absolutely. Had a big week for us for the Lady Indians in that best of 3 series. She lost a really close friend to her. Didn't make the Jackson State trip, but man, she played inspired softball earlier this week.
And the throw down to second on a ball inside, and Haley Moore has another steal. Give her 36 this year in 37 attempts. So 36 out of 37. ICC as a team now, 86 steals on the season out of 98 attempts.
Not too shabby.
That's a terrific percentage. Almost 90%. Here's Carver. She pops this one up right side of the infield. Calling for it is the first baseman right on the line, just inside the bag. And Butler makes the catch for the first out.
Yeah, couldn't quite catch up with that rise ball. Had good movement on it that time and was able to induce the pop out for out number 1.
You like what she was doing, though. Carver was trying to go to the right side to advance more to third with only 1 out with Corey Watterson at the plate. But as you mentioned, popped it up. And here's Corey Watterson, the Delta State signee. The first pitch is low and inside. How about the year Corey has put together? .469 batting average, 12 home runs, 56 runs batted in. All of those lead the team. And there's a strike called, 1-1 the count.
Yeah, she hasn't seen a lot of hittable pitches this year. People have been pitching around her, walking her, intentionally walking her, not intentionally walking her, just trying to do what they can to avoid this hot bat.
This one's popped up left side. It will drift out of play, and the count is now 1-2. Yes, that .825 slugging percentage tends to get into the opposing coaches' heads, and it's definitely on their radar. And as you mentioned, they try to pitch around Corey, but then you got to be careful. That's why it's so important for Hopper and Henderson to contribute on the backside to protect Watterson. This one's popped up right behind the plate, and making the catch is the catcher Kraft. And now there's 2 outs, and Moore still stranded at second base.
Yeah, and right now the batters are being jammed by this pitch. The pitcher for Gulf Coast is doing a good job of working inside on the hands, occasionally going outside, but causing that, I guess you say, that rise ball. And that's one thing that we don't typically see a lot in the North play. So, good job of getting those out pitches.
Here's Hopper, and she did the same thing. A pop-up on the left side of the infield. This one is Hickman making the catch, and that takes care of ICC. We got a runner at second with nobody out, and we left her there. No runs, no hits, no errors, and one was left. We go to the second inning. No score between ICC and Gulf Coast.
ICC Sports on FM 95 is sponsored in part by Trustmark Bank in Tupelo, Fulton, and Columbus. Trustmark is a Mississippi-based bank. Yes, it's a large regional bank, but managed locally by the Baptist Student Union on the Fulton campus. The BSU is the oldest, largest, and most active religious club on campus, serving ICC students since 1954.
FM 95 sports coverage of ICC is sponsored by the McDonald's of Monroe, Itawamba, Chickasaw, Lee, and Pontotoc counties, the Baptist Student Union, Family Pharmacy of Fulton, Subway, JUCOweekly.org, and First National Bank in Pontotoc.
Will Kohlmeyer alongside Adam Gore back here in Fulton. We go to the top of the second. No score between ICC and Gulf Coast. Johnson in the circle. She'll face the 4, 5, and 6 hitters. That's Gaston, Butler, and Ladner for Gulf Coast here in the top of the second. Chelsea Harlow is our studio engineer down at FM 95 Studios in Amory. After getting some help on our pregame show from her mom as our studio engineer, Tina Harlow. Here's the 1-1. High and outside. 2-1 to Gaston. Brooke is hitting at .321. She leads the team with 6 home runs. She's second on the squad with her 34 runs batted in. Davis, the number 3 hitter, leads the team with 51 ribbies. And there's a strike called. 2-1 the count with nobody out, nobody on here in the top of the second. No score between ICC and Gulf Coast. There's a strike. And strike 3 is called, and another strikeout brought to you by the Pit Stop Barbecue. Authentic Texas-style smoked meats. That's Pit Stop Barbecue in Fulton. Don't forget, they'll be open tomorrow till 1 o'clock. Located right across the street from the David C. Cole Student Services Building here on the ICC Fulton campus. First pitch is low to Butler, the first baseman. Brittany Butler, a freshman, hitting at .321, 1 home run, 26 runs batted in. There's a strike called.
Well, Hannah's doing a good job right now filling up the strike zone, and the umpire, sees what she's going for, and as she develops, I guess you say, through the third inning, that strike zone's going to open up a little bit more for her.
And there's a
fair ball.
Fair ball down the left field line, and it's going to be a base hit to lead things off here in the top of the second. Very close.
Apparently it bounced just in front of the base on the line and then hopped forward. So really, really close call that time, but the umpire had a good look down the line to be able to make the call.
Yep. Number 22. Here at the state tournament, just like last week's best of 3, we've got the 3 umpire crew. 1 behind the plate, and of course 2 on the base path. There's a strike called. 0-1 the count.
Not sure why they haven't shifted yet with the runner on first, though.
I was wondering the same thing. Ladner is the third baseman, hitting 6th in that lineup. Brooke Ladner, a freshman, hitting at .202. No home runs, 16 runs batted in.
Count goes 1-1. That pitch just a little low out of the strike zone.
No score, top of the second. First game of the 4-team double elimination state tournament here at ICC. There's a grounder foul, first base side toward the ICC dugout. We've got nationally ranked Jones County and Pearl River right after this one is over. The winner of this game plays the winner of that MACJC Pearl River game tomorrow at 1 o'clock. The two losers of today's games will play at 3 o'clock. There's a slow roller in front of the plate, and a nice play by Hannah Johnson covering her position. Fires a strike to Henderson just in time to get Ladner.
Yeah, and that wasn't a very easy play because her momentum was going towards home plate, and it was confusion on who could get to it quick enough, the catcher or the pitcher, but a good job by Johnson to get it and get that plant foot set, fire a rocket over to first for the out.
Yeah, it was a rocket, no doubt. And now here's Bender, the right-handed hitting left fielder with 2 outs. The runner does go to second. That was Butler on that ground ball. And there's a strike called, 0-1 the count to Bender.
It almost worked as a sacrifice bunt. Wasn't technically a bunt, but it did get the job done advancing the runner.
Bender hitting at .216, no home runs, 4 runs batted in. There's another strike.
Swing and strike that time. Bender looking to park that one somewhere. She took her head out of that one and swung big time.
She only has 2 extra base hits on the year, a double and a triple, but she had home run written all over that swing. And there's a slow roller down the third base line. Watterson charges, fires in time on a terrific play there by Watterson at third to get the speedy Bender, and that takes care of Gulf Coast in the top of the second. No runs, a hit, no errors, and 1 was left. Throw another donut on the scoreboard, brought to you by Sweet Cheeks Donut and Sandwich Shop in Fulton. No score. We go to the bottom of the second between ICC and Gulf Coast.
ICC Sports on FM 95 is sponsored in part by First American National Bank in Fulton, doing business the old-fashioned way. First American National Bank, with convenient locations all over Northeast Mississippi. By the Subways in Fulton, Tupelo, Saltillo, and Nettleton. Subway, eat fresh.
ICC Sports on FM 95 is sponsored in part by Davis Ford in Fulton. Need a new car, van, or SUV? Give Davis Ford a call at 862-3711. By Coca-Cola, Coke, and ICC. Now that's the winning combination.
And by Sweet Cheeks Donut and Sandwich Shop in downtown Fulton. Sweet Cheeks is open daily for breakfast and lunch and is the only place in Fulton where you can get hot, freshly made donuts.
Alongside Adam Gore, I'm Will Kohlmeyer. Chelsea Harlow is our studio engineer as we get ready for the bottom of the second. No score between ICC and Gulf Coast. First round game of the state tournament. We'll have the number 5, 6, and 7 hitters. That's Henderson, Langford, and Elder. And the first pitch is a strike call here in the bottom of the second against Briel, the starting pitcher for Gulf Coast. That pitch is high. 1-1 the count to Henderson. Emily was our Sonic star of the game, brought to you by the Sonic Drive-In in Fulton after that Game 3 performance last Saturday night. And she's one of the reasons why, Adam, that we're actually playing in the state tournament.
Yeah, she had a big Game 3 for us, and that's what we said. Key to victory is going to be getting some production out of our bottom half of the lineup. And, man, she got us started in a big way against East Central.
1-2 the count after Henderson fouled that one out of play. Emily hitting an even 300 on the year, 4 home runs, 30 runs batted in. And that pitch is low. 2-2 the count, maybe just a little bit outside. And the count is even at 2-2. Nobody on, nobody out. Bottom of the second, still no score between Itawamba and Gulf Coast. There's a little end of the bat squibber foul toward the ICC dugout, and we'll do it again at 2-2. Henderson, as I mentioned, hitting at 300. She has 4 home runs. She's driven in 30. Has a .477 slugging percentage. This one's popped up out of play, first base side.
Yeah, and Gulf Coast has obviously had a pretty good scouting report on it. So you see all the pitches going away from the batter. So they're going to force us to go with the pitches instead of just giving us some meat to hit.
Beautiful day for softball. No wind to speak of here at the ICC softball complex here on the ICC Fulton campus. Not too far off the banks of the Tennessee Tom Bigby Waterway. Here's the 2-2 outside to Henderson. The count is now full at 3-2.
Yeah, we're going to have a lot of that today. We're going to be patient at the plate and work to see if we can get some pitches we can hit.
Langford on deck, Elder in the hole. Here's the 3-2, smash down the third base line. Nice backhanded play. What a terrific job by Ladner at third. backhanded it, took the base hit down the line away from Henderson, and threw a nice strike to Butler to take care of Henderson for the first out.
Yeah, that was a big play right there because she ranged far and across her body to get that play over the bag. It would have been a fair ball and possibly down for 2. So a big play there for Gulf Coast.
Here's Langford, the designated player. Ashley, the sophomore, the transfer from Mississippi Delta. First pitch is a ball. Langford hitting at 302. She hit her 9th home run of the year a week ago tonight in game 1 of that best of 3 against East Central. Pitch is high. She's driven in 40 on the year.
Yeah, Ashley has been a very solid player for this year. She's been consistent. She's one of those that very patient at bat, and that's going to be the type of batter we're going to need in this series.
The 2-0 to Langford with 1 out. There's a strike called. 2-1 the count. Boy, Briel's pitch has got some movement.
Really does, and she's got some snap on it too.
2-1 the count with 1 out here in a scoreless bottom of the second. This one's popped up down the first base line. It will drift out of play, and the count will be even at 2-2. That was a rare ground ball. In fact, the first ground ball out on that Henderson. Ground out for the first out here. And there's a fly ball deep to left. Get up, and get out of here. A home run for Langford. And for the second time in as many weeks, Langford dials long distance, and ICC's up 1-0. Wow, did she put a charge into that one, Adam? It's 1-0 Itawamba.
Yeah, and that's what we talked about, Will. We're going to have to be patient at the plate and get pitches that we can hit. And that was one, man, she could hit because she hit it a mile. And that was big. That's what we said. If we can just get some runs early, try to maybe get in the mind of this Gulf Coast team. It's a very good softball team. And sort of just make them think about that. Make that pitcher think, ooh, I don't want to throw that pitch again. Stay a little bit more outside and just stay patient at the plate. And you're going to hear me say that a lot this series. But this game right here, we're going to have to be patient at the plate and swing at what we can hit and try to go with some pitches and make something happen.
Well, that's exactly right, and that's what Langford did there. That first pitch to Elder is high, 1-0 the count. So Langford with 10 home runs now, 41 runs batted in. Second straight Friday night, she's hit a home run for ICC.
Yeah,
last Friday night was in a win.
If she's coming back next year, she can be like, Coach, can we play every game on a Friday night?
That's right. She likes these Friday night, late afternoon, early evening showdowns. There's Elder out of Guntown. There's a strike call, the former East Union standout. 2-1 now the count to Elder with 1 out. Bottom of the second. Itawamba with the early 1-0 lead. Elder hitting at 340, 2 home runs, 17 runs batted in. That's a pitch low. 3-1 the count now.
And once again, good job by Elder at the plate right now. That pitch was coming right back, looked like it could have tailed back over the plate. She held off of it, now working with a 3-1 count. So we've got to force this pitcher to start filling up the strike zone, and then that's when our bats can take off. Well,
that's what Langford did. Her patience put her ahead of the count, and there's taking all the way Elder, and a strike called. 3-2 the count. Had a little movement as it hit around the knees toward the outer part of the plate.
There go the rally geese flying over. Hadn't seen them all season.
Add to that. Let's swing and a miss. Strike 3, and that's the first strikeout of the night for Briel. Brought to you by our friends at the Pit Stop.
And good location on that pitch that time. It was actually ball 4, but it was a good breaking pitch away from the batter. She had to have that mindset to protect the plate, and so that's the pitch you want to go with when you got a 3-2 count.
So let's see what the right-handed hitting Autumn Bonner, the catcher, will do with 2 outs here in the bottom of the second and a 1-0 late Indian lead. First pitch is a strike called, 0-1 the count.
Yeah, we'd really like to see Autumn have a breakout series. She had a good but quiet series against East Central, so hopefully she can make a lot of noise here.
Hitting at 245 on the year. There's a line drive right on cue, Adam. A base hit, a sharp single up the middle, and that extends the inning for Itawamba.
Yeah, and good hit that time, as we said. You got to take, whenever you do get some pitches, you got to go with them in this situation. So good job that time. I believe we're going to have a courtesy runner come in this situation. It's going to be Heather Dillard coming in to run for the catcher.
So Dillard, who has scored 36 runs already this year. Let's hope we can add to that total. She's on first, pinch running for the catcher. Bonner, and that base hit for Autumn now. She's 25 for 99 at the plate, so that batting average is above 250 now. Start of the day at 245. Here's the number 9 hitter, Lakin Schenkel, and the first pitch is high. She's your Rick's pick to click. You got a feeling?
I do. It's one of those whenever the tough get going, you need somebody from Calhoun to step up and step in. So she's from Calhoun, and that's what we're going to need today.
Well, Lakin stepped up quite a bit this year. How about a 383 batting average? No home runs, 9 runs batted in, and that's a strike called. Just a freshman. 23 out of 60 at the plate. She's got 6 doubles, 3 triples.
And she's done a good job of working her way into the lineup. We talked about Dillard being out with that foot injury, but Lakin has really done a good job this season coming in clutch situations, playing solid for us out in the outfield. Made a beautiful running and diving catch to cut down a pair of runs at Northwest to help us sweep there for the first time ever. So she's done a good job this season of contributing when she's got the opportunity.
There's a slow roller up the middle. Charging it is the shortstop, Hickman, and she fires to Butler, and that takes care of Schenkel and the Lady Indians here in the bottom of the second. But ICC gets a run on Langford's home run on 2 hits. There were no errors, and 1 was left. We played 2, and ICC has the early 1-0 lead over Gulf Coast.
ICC Sports on FM 95 is sponsored in part by First National Bank in Pontotoc, with locations on South Main Street in Pontotoc and on Highway 15 in North Pontotoc. First National Bank, you're important to us, and we prove it.
And by JUCO Weekly. Log on to JUCOweekly.org to view scores, stats, news, photos, and videos from around the MACJC. Follow us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. That's www.JUCOweekly.org.
FM 95 sports coverage of ICC is sponsored by the McDonald's of Monroe, Itawamba, Chickasaw, Lee, and Pontotoc counties, Trustmark Bank, Larry Clark Chevrolet Buick GMC Cadillac, Sweet Cheeks Donut and Sandwich Shop, the National Guard, the Daily Journal, and Pison's Pizza.
We head to the top of the third inning. ICC with the early 1-0 lead here at the state tournament against Mississippi Gulf Coast. Alongside Adam Gore, I'm Will Kohlmeyer. Chelsea Harlow is our studio engineer down at FM 95 Studios in Amory. We've got Mississippi State and Ole Miss baseball tonight on our AM stations. Mississippi State and Auburn, a 5:30 airtime on 1240 AM, and then Ole Miss and Arkansas in Oxford on Whammy 1580, a 6 o'clock airtime. The first pitch is a little low. Johnson here in the third will face the number 8, 9, and 1 hitters. That's Richardson, Campbell, and Hickman. There's a slow roller back to the circle, and Hannah will underhand it and makes the play, makes it a little interesting.
Yeah, she has struggled this year. That's one thing that she has taken some extra time to work with at practice, because a lot of people don't realize it. A pitcher throws underhand the whole time. So when you go from getting in that rhythm, throwing underhand, to all of a sudden going up to throwing over the top, you're not used to that.
No.
And you see that a lot. You see a lot of errors come whenever pitchers try to rush the throw, but a good job of making sure she had it. Underhand toss and get the out.
Nicely done. That take care of the leadoff hitter, Richardson. Here's Campbell, the center fielder. First pitch is high. Kat Campbell, the sophomore, hitting at 305. No home runs, 2 runs batted in. A little high and outside. And it's 2-0 the count with 1 out here in the top of the third. 1-0 Itawamba over Gulf Coast. There's a foul tip. 2-1 the count to Campbell with Hickman on deck.
Well, I understand we've got a lot of Hannah's family watching back home. Her parents said they were able to make the trip down here. So do want to say a special hello to everyone back in Branson, Missouri.
I know they'll have quite a few watching at letsgoicc.com. Grounder to third. Watterson making the play. You talk about a bang play at first. Campbell got down the line in a hurry, but Watterson throws a missile from third over to Henderson for the second out.
I'll put it to you this way. Emily is a lot braver than I am. I'm not catching anything that Corey Watterson throws for me at third.
That's now 2 putouts, I should say 2 assists for Watterson at third base. And here's the leadoff hitter, Hickman. who grounded to Henderson to start the ball game. We're here in the third now. It's 2 outs, nobody on for Gulf Coast. The Lady Bulldogs trailing our Lady Indians 1-0. There's a soft liner in a short right field, and it drops for a base hit.
Yeah,
so a little flare to right by Hickman, and that extends the inning.
Yeah, not a whole lot you can do about that on that play right there. So they're just get in front of it, get it in quickly, and don't let it get past you in that situation. So good job by Hop to just get on that, not try to make a diving play. If you don't make it, it gets by you, and the run probably scores.
So with 2 outs, the runner at first is Hickman, and here's the catcher, Kraft. For the folks listening up in Branson, Missouri, Hannah Johnson making her 26th appearance of the year. She's 17-4. She's got 11 complete games. Started the day with 124 2/3 innings pitched. Pitch is low and outside.
Yeah, a little pitch out that time. They're going to see if the runner might have been going to see if they couldn't catch him in a steal situation.
Giving up just 104 hits, so that's well below a hit per inning. There's just a little low.
When you say a little low,
we're talking about a tad, aren't we?
Yeah, it was talking about just a little low.
2-0 the count. Giving up 59 runs in those 124 2/3 innings, but only 33 were earned. Had some good movement.
Yeah, good job. Good job coming back with that pitch right there. Just enough on the inside, and it broke back or tailed back over the plate. So good strike pitch that time for Johnson.
2-1 the count. Hannah with 57 strikeouts this year. There's a fly ball to left center field. It drops for a base hit, and it's going to be, they're going to they got a runner in between first and second, and they're able to tag the runner before the runner at third that could score. So a miscue on the base pass. So give Kraft the base hit. Hickman went to third on it, but then Kraft gets nailed 8-6-4 on the putout, and in the inning, no runs, 2 hits, no errors, and 1 was left. We played 2.5 and put a donut on that scoreboard for Gulf Coast in the third. Brought to you by Sweet Cheeks Donut and Sandwich Shop. ICC will take the 1-0 lead into the bottom of the third.
ICC Athletics on FM 95 Sports is brought to you in part by the National Guard. Always ready, always there, the National Guard. And by Pisons. Give Stan the Pizza Man a call at 862-4000.
ICC Sports on FM 95 is sponsored in part by First American National Bank in Fulton, doing business the old-fashioned way. First American National Bank, with convenient locations all over Northeast Mississippi. By the Subways in Fulton, Tupelo, Saltillo, and Nettleton. Subway, eat fresh.
We go to the bottom of the third. ICC leads it 1-0. Will Colmeyer, Adam Gore back here in Fulton.
That was a big out, Will, on that, to end that inning, because Gulf Coast had got something going, like they got a little bit of confidence. You can sort of see how they went back to the dugout. They kind of just like, we had a chance, So hopefully we can build on that, sort of come back up here with our 1, 2, 3 batters, get something going, put another run on, and try to rattle them a little bit more.
That's exactly right. You're right. They had for sure runners at first and third with 2 outs with their top hitter coming up, Davis. But a nice little web gem for ICC is between Schenkel and then Moore and then Carver. That's a web gem brought to you by the National Guard, and we get out of that mess, getting Kraft caught in a pickle between second and first.
Absolutely. And for those watching on letsgoicc.com, we do want to remind you, coming up next, we will have the Jones-Pearl River game here on the live stream.
That's right. Adam, thanks to you. You're going to have all of the games video streamed all weekend long. And, of course, we'll be broadcasting. You'll actually have the play-by-play of the ICC games. And hopefully that'll mean Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for Itawamba. Here's Haley Moore, the leadoff hitter for the Lady Indians here in the bottom of the third. First pitch is high, 1-0 the count. Haley walked, got a steal in the first inning, but was stranded there. We had her at second with nobody out, but then they were able to get Carver, Watterson, and Hopper to end the threat. 1-0 Itawamba over Gulf Coast, thanks to Langford's 10th home run of the year. And there's a grounder, a diving play by the third baseman. What a job by Ladner. She went to her left, in fact, dove, got back up, quickly fired a strike to Butler to get the Speedy Moore for the first out.
That's the second time we've seen her make a great play over there at third. So you have to hit something hard. You have to hit it far away from her if you're going, or over her, if you're going to get something down the third baseline today.
Another web gem, this time by Gulf Coast, brought to you by the National Guard. Always ready, always there, the National Guard. There's a first pitch as a strike call to Carver. She popped up to the first baseman, Butler, her first time up. We'll take a look at that Coca-Cola defensive alignment for Gulf Coast coming up right after this pitch, which is low and outside. In the outfield from left to right, you've got Bender, Campbell, and Gaston. Around the infield from third to first, it's Ladner, Hickman, Davis, and Butler. Behind the plate, it's Kraft, and Briel is in the circle. And there, did she check swing? Did she commit? Yes, they do. They appealed it to the first base umpire.
That ball never, of course, there's really no definitive spot for the plane of the plate, but the tip of the bat never come off across the plane of her back shoulder.
So it's 1-2 the count, and now a called strike 3 to Carver. And that strikeout brought to you by the Pit Stop Barbecue. Open Monday through Saturday for breakfast, on Saturday till 1 o'clock, and on Monday through Friday till 10 o'clock. So there's 2 outs here in the bottom of the third, and here's Corey Watterson, who popped up to the catcher her first time up. And the Delta State signee watches that first pitch low, 1-0 the count.
Another reason why that check swing was wrong, the umpire took forever to call it. He was almost like, oh, wait, you're appealing that?
That's a sign. That time a smash by Watterson, and she hit a seed, and that one finally got past Ladner. Looked like she had like a vacuum over there at third, but that one she was able to get past her, and a base hit for Watterson, her first of the night, and that extends the bottom of the third for Itawamba.
Yeah, that's what I said. You have to hit something hard at her, towards her feet or something like that. She just didn't have enough time to react to it, so hopefully we can spark a little 2-out rally here.
I like it. Here's Hopper, the cleanup hitter, and there's a ground ball on the first pitch to Ladner. Fires over to first, and that takes care of Kara Hopper and the Lady Indians.
Gotta
here.
Be more patient.
Yes, I was just going to say the same thing. No runs, a hit, no errors, and 1 was left. We go to the fourth. ICC hanging on to a 1-0 lead over Gulf Coast.
ICC Sports on FM 95 is sponsored in part by Davis Ford in Fulton. Need a new car, van, or SUV? Give Davis Ford a call at 862-3711. By Coca-Cola, Coke, and ICC. Now that's a winning combination.
And by Sweet Cheeks Donut and Sandwich Shop in downtown Fulton. Sweet Cheeks is open daily for breakfast and lunch, and is the only place in Fulton where you can get hot, freshly made donuts.
FM 95 sports coverage of ICC is sponsored by the McDonald's of Monroe, Itawamba, Chickasaw, Lee, and Pontotoc counties, Davis Ford, Coke, First American National Bank, Itawamba Community College, and Auto, Air, and Electric.
On a gorgeous late afternoon here in Fulton, up here tucked into northeast Mississippi, it's the state tournament this year. First game of the state tournament, ICC against Gulf Coast. Lady Indians lead at 1-0 over the Lady Bulldogs. Johnson back in the circle. Change up to start the fourth is a little low. It'll be Davis, Gaston, and Butler, the 3, 4, and 5 hitters, facing Johnson and Itawamba.
Well, Will, we also have the best-of-3 baseball series going on. Unfortunately, the Indians didn't qualify for that this season, and we do have a Trustmark Bank scoreboard update. And Northeast with a thriller over Pearl River as Luke Stanley hits a walk-off sacrifice fly to score the game-winning run, 9-8 for the Tigers.
Pitch is low, 2-0 the count. That's a big win for Northeast. And yes, you mentioned ICC not in the postseason for the first time in 13 years. See Andy Lee here from WTVA, which means we'll see these highlights tonight at 6 and 10 on WTVA. There's a strike call. Andy hustling over here to get some highlights for North Mississippi.
Probably had to walk a good bit of distance to get to the park. Man, the parking area is just packed, and there's a great crowd here. Jones and Pearl River starting to make their way into the stadium right now. So great day for softball, and we've got 4 outstanding crowds anticipated this weekend.
No doubt about it. 3-2 now the count to Davis. She flew out to Elder to end the top of the first. And she sends this liner just foul down the third base side of things. Had a little slice on that one.
Yeah, it looked like she decided once she swung the bat that she didn't want to swing the bat. So a little check swing ball that had got about 2-3 foot foul down the line. So a break for the Lady Indians and another at-bat here for Davis.
3-2 the count to the left-handed hitting second baseman. Davis hitting at .404 this year. And there is ball 4 low and outside. So the first walk for Johnson. And Davis with that .430 on-base percentage trots down to first.
Absolutely. So we got to be careful here. As you saw, she's got some good speed. So the Lady Indians anticipating a little slap hit situation. Going to bring in the infield.
Here's Gaston, the right fielder. Brooke is hitting at .321 starting the day. Showing bunt. Piled it straight back. Kind of an unorthodox kind of.
Yeah, I would say she was showing slap, and then all of a sudden just tried to sneak the bunt down and see if she couldn't get the runner. So they were going to go sack bunt the whole way that time.
Andy Kirk talked about this on the Davis Ford pregame show, but this team can run, and they're very successful too. How about 81 steals and 84 attempts this year? That's near perfect. And that pitch is high.
Just high.
To Gaston. She struck out her first time. One of the 2 Ks on the day for Hannah Johnson in the circle for Etowamba. We're in the top of the fourth. Nobody out. Runner at first. 1-0 ICC. A bunt right back to Johnson, and she throws it down the right field line. And that's going to allow the runners to go to second and third. And you talked about it earlier, Adam, on the when you're pitching underhand all the time, then you got to throw it over the shoulder, and that makes it difficult. So give Gaston a sacrifice bunt, brought to you by the Baptist Student Union, because she was giving her at-bat up, but then an error on Johnson allows runners to go to second and third.
Yeah, and that time I think Johnson thought she didn't have as much time to throw it and kind of rushed it. And we talked about it. You know, it's just one of those things. As a softball pitcher, you just got to kind of concentrate on it a little bit more and realize, you know, hey, I had a little bit more time than that. Andy's going to come out now and talk to his freshman pitcher here in this situation. No outs, runners on second and third. Want to make sure everybody's on the same page and kind of give Hannah a chance to sort of catch her breath and refocus here.
That's exactly right. And Andy Kirk now on his way back to the dugout. A precarious situation, to say the least, for ICC here in the top of the fourth. Gulf Coast has runners at second and third with nobody out, and here is Butler, the first baseman. She got a base hit her first time up. In fact, she was the only Lady Bulldog the first time through the lineup to reach base against Johnson. Here's the first pitch, showing bunt, and they got the squeeze on, and now we got the runner in between third and the plate. And now, but the third base, we dropped it. I should say the
shortstop.
That was the shortstop covering because Watterson was rushing on the bunt attempt.
Actually, it wouldn't have mattered anyway. It said she fouled it off.
Oh, it was a foul tip.
Yeah,
okay.
Said she fouled it off. The umpire, he had his hands up. He held his hands up, but he did let the play continue like they're supposed to in that situation. So it was a foul tip in that situation.
All right, so Butler now 0-1 the count. She was trying to sacrifice a safety squeeze. That pitch is high and outside.
Yeah, they're going to see if they want to try the squeeze again that time to see if they might have been able to catch them into something. But 1-1 now is the count.
That sacrifice by Davis, brought to you by the Baptist Student Union. Chris Barrows has been in charge of the BSU since 1996. There's a slow roller foul. Fouled it right straight back. And it's 1-2 the count with nobody out. Runners at second and third here in the top of the fourth. 1-0 Etowamba.
Nice drop ball that time by Johnson. Got to the batter and fell off the table, but she was able to find a piece of it and foul it off.
Butler with 1 home run, 26 runs batted in on the year with that .321 batting average. And this one, again, is squibbed just a bit behind the home plate area. And we'll do it again at 1-2 with nobody out.
Yeah, good at bat right now by Butler, just fouling off things, trying to make something happen for her team. So hopefully Johnson can win this battle here for out number 1.
Butler does have 10 doubles to go along with that home run for her 11 extra base hits. That's strike 3 called. A beautiful pitch. Had some movement by Hannah Johnson. That's now 3 Ks for Johnson, all brought to you by the Pit Stop Barbecue here in Fulton.
And that's what we said, once you kind of establish your position as a pitcher, where you want to go for it, what you want to try to hit, that's what the umpire is going to see. That's what you want to go for. She's been aiming for that corner all day, and he gave it to her.
Big out. Now there's 1 out, runners at second and third, and the first pitch is low and outside to Ladner. Ladner grounded back to the circle. Johnson took care of her first time up.
That's going to be the first thing on a ground ball. Everybody's going to look home and then try to get the out at first.
That pitch is low and inside. 2-0 the count with 1 out here in the top of the fourth. ICC leading at 1-0 over Gulf Coast, but the Lady Bulldogs have runners at second and third. Ladner at the plate, Bender on deck. Ladner, the third baseman. There's a strike called. When you look at Brooks' numbers on the year, just 202 with no home runs, 16 runs batted in.
Yeah, taking the whole way that time was Ladner in that situation. 2-1 now is the count.
Crowd continues to grow on a Chamber of Commerce Friday here in Fulton. There's a swing and a miss. 2-2 the count with 1 out here in the top of the fourth.
Yeah, took something off that pitch that time. Ladner way ahead of that one.
Ladner hits from the right side against the right-handed freshman hurler for Itawamba, Hannah Johnson. 17-4 this year. And there's a ground ball up the middle. Backhanded play by Carver. Sidearms it over to first in time. Terrific play there by Carver. But the RBI ground out by Ladner will score Davis, and we're tied at 1.
Yeah, unearned run that time, as that should have been the third out in that situation. But, you look at it, hey, we got the second out. We get this out here, try to keep this damage done to a minimum.
That RBI for Ladner, her 17th of the year. And as you mentioned, it will be unearned. But we have a tie game now at 1-1. Still a great play by Carver. She had a backhand that one. There's a slow roller down the third base line. Watterson charges, fires over to first in time to Henderson as Bender went flying in a collision with Henderson, and that takes care of Gulf Coast in the fourth. They get a run on no hits. There was an error, and 1 was left at third. We go to the bottom of the fourth, and we're tied at 1 between ICC and Gulf Coast.
ICC Sports on FM 95 is sponsored in part by Trustmark Bank in Tupelo, Fulton, and Columbus. Trustmark is a Mississippi-based bank. Yes, it's a large regional bank, but managed locally by the Baptist Student Union on the Fulton campus. The BSU is the oldest, largest, and most active religious club on campus, serving ICC students since 1954.
ICC Athletics on FM 95 Sports is brought to you in part by the National Guard. Always ready, always there, the National Guard. And by Pisons. Give Stan the Pizza Man a call at 862-4000.
Alongside Adam Gore, I'm Will Kohlmeyer, Chelsea Harlow, our studio engineer down at FM 95 Studios in Amory. The top of the fourth ended with a bang-bang play at first, literally. Bender trying to beat out the infield single. Watterson threw a strike to Henderson, and Henderson and Bender collided. Henderson's on the on-deck circle, but Bender is still down. Now she's starting to get up. I see Jeff Dews and the folks there from the North Mississippi Medical Center Sports Medicine Program, the sole provider for ICC Athletics, helping out Bender.
And I think that time Bender, she tried to stretch out and make that play, and, she hit the bag. I mean, it was a close play that time. Her and Henderson may have hit, and she kind of just went flying that time because when you look at it, Emily, has got a little size on the on Bender in that situation. So one of those where she's got her glove now. She's going to head back to the outfield. So, hey, this time of year, you catch your breath, shake it off, and go make something happen.
Now Mississippi Gulf Coast, they were not out warming up during the injury. So now we got another delay in between innings. Let's bring in John Williams, the head football coach, into the broadcast, as John will give us an update on the annual golf tournament, the ICC golf tournament, 6th annual event coming up on June 13th. It'll be here before we know it, John.
Yeah, Friday the 13th. Looking forward to another great event. This is something that we've been doing for years, and I tell you, it's a great way to support our program, and a great way for us to be able to have a good time and fellowship with some fans and alumni and supporters.
Absolutely. So it's Friday the 13th, June 13th at Big Oaks Golf Course there in Saltillo, right there next to the mall there in Tupelo. Talk a little bit about ICC football. Obviously, I know this is a big fundraiser, but how about giving us a little Reader's Digest version of the spring practice? How'd that go, partner?
Well, it went really well. We had about 25 guys that we really wanted to evaluate and work on, getting better at their craft, and I think we accomplished that.
Here's Emily Henderson leading off here, the bottom of the fourth, in a 1-1 tie between ICC and Gulf Coast. It'll be Henderson, Langford, and Elder. That pitch is a little low. 2-0 the count. I tell you what, you being a football coach, you can sense this is quite an atmosphere for this state tournament.
Absolutely.
Pop up in the infield, left side, shortstop calling for it, and Hickman makes the catch, and Henderson is retired for the first out here in the bottom of the fourth in a 1-1 tie.
This is my favorite sport outside of my sport. I love to come out and watch these ladies play. The speed and velocity that they put on the ball from the mound, I think, is just amazing, and even more amazing that they can hit it going that fast. So a lot of skill by these ladies out here.
Well, Langford's first pitch is squibbed down the first base line, 0-1 the count. Langford put a charge into one her first time up. And that gave ICC a 1-0 lead at that time. Gulf Coast scored an unearned run in the top of the fourth. See, you brought your offensive coordinator, Nick Coleman, here as well. So well represented up here in the press box.
Yeah, I don't know how he was able to get past security, but we did get him up here in the box. So glad to have him. He did a great job this spring, and just really excited about Nick and everything that he's going to bring to our program. And what a great fit. Just really excited for him.
Here's the 1-1 and a strike called. 1-2 the count. Now Langford's got to guard the dish with one out, nobody on here in the bottom of the fourth, and a 1-1 tie. Breel delivers high. Had some giddy up on that one.
I tell you what, I think every game that's going to be played here this weekend is going to be just a tight game, and I'm really excited about watching all of these games.
This one's popped up on the right side. Butler calling for it, right on the line, maybe a couple feet from the first base bag down that line, and that's the second out here in the bottom of the fourth. I agree. We've got Jones County, a team that's hung out in the top five all season long. They've got Pearl River in the next game, but you're right. If folks like softball and appreciate some good college softball, then ICC is the place to be the next 3 days.
No doubt. A lot of times you get these playoff situations and tournament time and things like that. Sometimes it works out, and there's some guys in there that really shouldn't belong. But I tell you what, these teams that are in here, we didn't miss on this tournament. This is going to be action-packed and going to be some exciting games.
Elder fouls the first one back. 0-1 the count to Rachel. That pitch is low. 1-1 the count. Nobody on. 2 outs here in the bottom of the fourth, and we're tied at 1 between ICC and Gulf Coast. Crowd continues to grow, and the wind starts to pick up a little bit, blowing from right to left. And there's a short fly ball into right field. Coming on and making the catch is the right fielder, Gaston, and that takes care of ICC. John, appreciate your time. Keep up the good work, and we'll see you throughout the weekend.
Thank you.
All right. John Williams, head coach, little ICC spotlight brought to you by First National Bank in Pontotoc. A bottom of the fourth, no runs, no hits. We went 3 up and 3 down. We go to the fifth, and we're tied at 1 between ICC and Gulf Coast.
ICC Sports on FM 95 is sponsored in part by First American National Bank in Fulton, doing business the old-fashioned way. First American National Bank, with convenient locations all over Northeast Mississippi. By the Subways in Fulton, Tupelo, Saltillo, and Nettleton. Subway, eat fresh.
FM 95 sports coverage of ICC is sponsored by the McDonald's of Monroe, Itawamba, Chickasaw, Lee, and Pontotoc counties, the Baptist Student Union, Family Pharmacy of Fulton, Subway, JUCOweekly.org, and First National Bank in Pontotoc.
We head to the top of the 5th inning. First game of the MACJC State Softball Tournament. ICC and Gulf Coast tied at 1. First pitch swinging and hitting deep to center field, and it's out of here. A home run by Richardson on the first pitch of the top of the 5th, and ICC is down 2-1.
Yeah, that pitch that time just hung up on her. She got just enough of a thought there for a second. Might have been able to sort of sneak its way, stay in the park, but just carried just enough to sneak over the fence.
And that for Richardson, her second home run, I beg your pardon, her third home run of the year. And it's 2-1 Gulf Coast. That is a big hit for the visiting Lady Bulldogs from Perk. And now, as the number 9 hitter Campbell stepped into the batter's box, the third base coach, also the head coach at Gulf Coast, Kenneth Long, asking her to come down the third base line to go over a few things. 2-1, Gulf Coast has rallied. ICC scored in the bottom of the second on a Langford home run. Then they scored an unearned run in the top of the 4th. And now a home run to lead off the top of the 5th. And that pitch, a little chin music to the left-handed hitting Campbell, the center fielder.
Well, me being a Notre Dame fan and Jeff Samardzija, who plays for the Cubs, that's what he does after he gives up a home run. He comes kind of inside tight to remind everybody, hey, steal my plate.
That pitch a little outside the strike zone, so 2-0 the count. In the top of the 5th, Campbell bounced to the third baseman Watterson, her first time up. Kat Campbell hitting at .305, starting the day. 2 home runs, 8 runs batted in. Pitch is low. 3-0 the count. I have yet to give that defensive alignment for ICC, brought to you by our friends from Coke. I'll have that for you right after this 3-0 offering from Johnson to Campbell, showing bunt, pulling it back, and strike called right down Main Street, and it's 3-1 the count. In the outfield for ICC, you've got Elder, Schenkel, and Hopper. Here's the 3-1, low and outside, and a walk to Campbell. So the 8 and 9 creating some havoc here in the top of the 5th in that Gulf Coast lineup. And now we go to the top of the order in Hickman. Around the infield from third to first, you've got Watterson, Moore, Carver, and Henderson. Behind the plate is Bonner. In the circle is Hannah Johnson. That's the ICC defensive alignment, brought to you by Coke. And here's Hickman at the plate with a runner at first, nobody out. Hickman leading the team with a .410 batting average.
Yeah, really be a good time to roll up an ICC dining service double play here.
See what we can do, and that one is a foul ball. Tried to bunt, was trying to play by the book, trying to get that runner in scoring position with only 1 out. Kraft is on deck, Davis in the hole.
No outs.
No outs, I beg your pardon. Henderson and Watterson are way in at the corners, and this one taking all the way.
Ooh.
And a little high. 1-1 the count.
The umpire actually answered the crowd that time. I'm showing them where the pitch was.
And the ICC coaches were asking for it in the first base dugout. There's a bunt foul down the first base line. And it's 1-2 the count with nobody out here in the top of the 5th. That home run by Richardson, the first earned run given up by Johnson today. Hannah starting the day with a 17-4 record and a sparkling 1.85 earned run average for Itawamba. ICC just needs to win 1 game this weekend, and we'll go to next week's regional. There's a base hit off the glove of a diving Moore. And a nice job by Schenkel coming in quickly and not allowing the runner to go from first to third, Campbell.
Yeah, and you saw Schenkel that time. She was actually backing up, going towards shortstop. She had to cut back in a hurry right there. So good job of getting that to a hurry because the runner was actually looking at third. But Schenkel getting there in a hurry and keeping the runner at bay.
So Hickman now 2 for 3 on the afternoon. And here's Kraft, the catcher. She got a base hit her last time up. And now here comes Andy Kirk, and he's going to come out and talk to his infield again here in the top of the 5th. Gulf Coast leads it 2-1. We're back in 30 seconds here on FM 95 Sports.
ICC Sports on FM 95 is sponsored in part by First National Bank in Pontotoc, with locations on South Main Street in Pontotoc and on Highway 15 in North Pontotoc. First National Bank, you're important to us, and we prove it.
And by JUCO Weekly. Log on to JUCOweekly.org to view scores, stats, news, photos, and videos from around the MACJC. Follow us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at www.JUCOweekly.org.
Andy Kirk is on his way back to the ICC dugout, which is on the first base side. Some of the ICC crowd applauding.
We've had a great crowd this season for the girls coming out to support them. Always been a lively crowd, and they've had plenty to cheer for this season as well.
No doubt. A lot of records being broken already, and hopefully some more goals to be achieved for this ICC Lady Indian team that starts today ranked 11th in the country. And a bunt attempt, and Henderson, the throw is high. Henderson tried to tag the batter Kraft.
I thought she had her with the tag, but the infield umpire said she was safe, and so that's going to be an error.
And the throw, that's right, the throw was high from Henderson to Carver, who was covering him. By the time Carver came back down with the ball on the bag, Kraft had beat it out on a close play at first. And so now the bases are juiced. They're full of Lady Bulldogs, and ICC's got to be mighty careful here. Trailing 2-1, nobody out, top of the 5th. First pitch is low to Davis. She walked her last time up, flew out to Elder back in the first.
Yeah, need to get a ground ball right here, something easy to throw home and get the force out.
Johnson dealing. Fly ball, deep left field. Elder looks over her head. It's going to be off the wall. 1 run will score. 2 runs will score. And it's a 2-run single by Davis. And that plates 2 more. And now Gulf Coast is up 4-1.
Yeah, Elder lost it that time off the bat. Couldn't quite find it quick enough and try to get back to it. Did a good enough job to keep it to a single on the play. But, yeah, as you said, 2 runs had scored. So now ICC needs to get out of this inning in a big way here. Still no outs in the inning.
And here comes Andy Kirk, and this might be all for Hannah Johnson. We might have our first Predator Pest Control pitching change of the tournament, and it looks like Kara Hopper will be coming in to replace Hannah Johnson. We'll take a 60-second timeout. It's top of the 5th. Gulf Coast leading ICC 4-1 here at the state tournament.
ICC Athletics on FM 95 Sports is brought to you in part by the National Guard. Always ready, always there, the National Guard. And by Pisons. Give Stan the Pizza Man a call at 862-4000.
ICC Sports on FM 95 is sponsored in part by First American National Bank in Fulton, doing business the old-fashioned way. First American National Bank, with convenient locations all over Northeast Mississippi. By the Subways in Fulton, Tupelo, Saltillo, and Nettleton. Subway, eat fresh.
And at shortstop, center field.
Will Kohlmeyer, Adam Gore back here in Fulton. A Predator Pest Control pitching change. A Predator Pest Control pitching change, the first one of the state tournament, as Hannah Johnson's day is done. She goes 4+ innings. Trails 4-1, and here's Kara Hopper. The line on Kara this year, her 23rd appearance of the year. She's got a 5-2 record, 6 saves, and a 1.21 earned run average. Hopper has thrown 52 innings, given up just 32 hits in those 52 innings, 13 runs, just 9 of those were earned. 45 strikeouts, 23 walks, and as I mentioned, a 5-2 record, a 1.21 ERA with 6 saves, and that's the line on Kara Hopper. brought to you by our friends at McDonald's.
And Will, during that, we also have a Predator Pest Control position change.
Okay.
Kara comes in from right field. From left field to right goes Rachel Elder. From center field to left goes Lakin Schenkel, and Heather Dillard will check in at center field.
Love it. And Ted Weatherford and his son Clay Weatherford say thank you as well. Normally they're just sponsoring the Predator Pest Control pitching changes, but you coming up with some alliteration of your own, a Predator Pest Control position change.
Yes.
Love it. Love it. So right now it's 4-1. We're not loving the score as Gulf Coast has come back with 4 unanswered runs, and they're still not done. At least they're thinking they're not done here in the top of the 5th. We hope they are, but nobody out. Runners at first and second. Here's Gaston, the cleanup hitter.
Yeah, at the end of the day right now, or I guess you say right now, the story of the game is our errors. They've just come back, and Gulf Coast is taking advantage of them. That's what you got to do in these type situations when teams make mistakes, make them pay, and Gulf Coast has done so.
Well, you talked about it on the Davis Ford pregame show. We need to play that defense that we can't give them any gifts, and we've been a little too friendly, too much of a good host right now. First pitch is inside, a 1-0 the count to Gaston, the cleanup hitter. She reached on an air her last time up. There's a bunt in front of the plate. One play to first. Bonner did a nice job to Carver covering, and a sacrifice bunt by Gaston brought to you by the Baptist Student Union. And the BSU would like to remind all of us of the ultimate sacrifice made on our behalf. And runners at second and third with 1 out. And here's Butler. Butler is 1 for 2 at the plate. Got a base hit her first time up in the second, and then struck out looking her last time up. We use a K right here again. That pitch is outside, a little high. Henderson way in at first, as is Watterson at third, anticipating maybe a little bunt.
There's a lot you can do in this situation with 1 out, runners on second and third.
There's a pop-up down the right field line. Carver makes the catch. They're going to try to tag the runner. Now they just bluff, and Carver would have gunned her down. A beautiful throw by Kat Carver, and Gulf Coast was wise to hold the runner at third.
I was really shocked they even faked it that time to see if they were going to get a throw, because that would have been deep enough. But a player like Carver, who's got a cannon on her, would have had her out twice.
Let's see what ICC can do here with Ladner at the plate. 0 for 2 with a couple ground outs. One back to Johnson, and then one to the second baseman Carver, although that last time was an RBI ground out. And that is a strike called.
Yeah, nice changeup, sort of get her off her heels, or on her heels with the first pitch changeup.
Hopper delivers high. 1-0 in the count. 2 outs here in the top of the 5th. Boy, if we could just get out of this frame with, I know trailing 4-1 is big, but it could be a lot worse. And we're just down by 3, and we've got 3 more innings to come to the plate. Here's high and inside.
Yeah, she stuck the elbow out, did Ladner, trying to take that one for the team and get her way on first, as she not only stuck it out but raised it up and went for it that time.
I'll tell you what, all the power to her, because that thing had some giddy up on it. There's the changeup inside.
Ooh. Hopper thought that was strike 2 in that situation, but instead now the count goes 3-1. So got to be careful right now. Runners on second and third with 2 outs here. You don't want to give her too much to hit.
First base is open with Bender on deck. Ladner had an RBI ground out her last time up. At that point, tied the game. That was an unearned run. There's a strike called. Count is full at 3-2.
It looked like Gulf Coast just chose to take the whole way that time to see if they couldn't get a walk with a new pitcher just checking into the game.
That RBI by Ladner her last time up, her 17th of the year, hitting at 200 now on the season. That pitch is ball 4, so we walk Ladner. First base was open, though, but the bases are now loaded again. And here's Bender, who has grounded out twice to Watterson, and both times Watterson has come up with some tremendous plays at third to get the speedy Bender.
This is a big at-bat right now for both teams. ICC trying to get out of here with the only minimum damage done, and Gulf Coast trying to build this lead some more.
Here's a little flare into right. It scores a run as it drops in for a base hit. And just a little soft liner into right field, and that's a big hit for Bender. And it's now 5-1. And for Bender, just her 5th run batted in on the year, and she came into the game hitting just .216.
Yeah, second unearned run of the day for Gulf Coast, and we said, take advantage of mistakes and make teams pay, and that's what Gulf Coast has done here in this game.
Pitch is a strike call to the left-handed hitting Richardson. She started this inning with the home run. This is the 10th batter now to face ICC pitching here in the 5th. It's been a nightmare at the top of the 5th for Itawamba. And the red and blue trailing now 5-1. There's a pitch, the low, 1-1 the count to Richardson. She grounded out to Hannah Johnson her first time up. So Richardson at the plate for the second time in this top of the 5th. There's a slow roller, foul.
Change up that time, had her way ahead of that pitch.
Richardson in limited time. She's only had 17 at-bats starting the game. But that's a big place in the lineup.
So she stepped up big then in that case.
But in 17 at-bats, she had 8 hits and 2 home runs. That pitch is low and outside. 2-2 the count with 2 outs. So the deuces are wild. ICC here trailing 5-1, top of the 5th. Bases are full of Lady Bulldogs. This one's fouled straight back. And we'll do it again at 2-2. Gulf Coast tied it in the top of the 4th with an unearned run, and they've scored 4 more runs in the top of the 5th to lead it 5-1.
One guy that's listening right now, Lad Taylor, enjoying this inning.
There's a slow roller down to first, and Henderson with the glove taps the bag, and that takes care of Richardson. Yeah, special shout out to the AD down there at Gulf Coast. Appreciate Lad and a lot of the Gulf Coast family watching this broadcast. We go to the bottom of the 5th. After 4 runs in the inning on 4 hits, there were 2 errors and just 2 earned runs. We go to the bottom of the 5th inning. We need some runs to get back in it. We trail 5-1.
ICC Sports on FM 95 is sponsored in part by Davis Ford in Fulton. Need a new car, van, or SUV? Give Davis Ford a call at 862-3711. By Coca-Cola, Coke, and ICC. Now that's the winning combination.
And by Sweet Cheeks Donut and Sandwich Shop in downtown Fulton. Sweet Cheeks is open daily for breakfast and lunch and is the only place in Fulton where you can get hot, freshly made donuts.
ICC Sports on FM 95 is sponsored in part by First National Bank in Pontotoc, with locations on South Main Street in Pontotoc and on Highway 15 in North Pontotoc. First National Bank, you're important to us, and we prove it.
And by JUCO Weekly. Log on to JUCOweekly.org to view scores, stats, news, photos, and videos from around the MACJC. Follow us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at www.JUCOweekly.org.
We go to the bottom of the 5th inning. ICC needs to get some folks on base, and let's get back in this thing. It's 5-1 Gulf Coast. In the bottom of the 5th, it'll be the number 8, 9, and 1 hitters for Itawamba. That's Autumn Bonner, Lake and Schenkel, and then we'll go to the top of the order. And more. And if any of those reach base, we'll get Carver. And there's a strike called. 0-1 the count. 5-1 in favor of the blue and gold of Mississippi Gulf Coast. There's a fly ball, but right to the right fielder, and that is Gaston for the first out. She hit it on the nose, Adam, but right to Gaston for out number 1.
Yeah, I really didn't have to make a big step or anything. Really barely had to move to get that one. So got to make it a little bit more difficult on the defense, but you got to start it now. One batter at a time. We can't afford just easy outs and let these outs get away from us. We got to start manufacturing some runs here.
Absolutely, and we can do that. We've seen it throughout the course of the year. And there's a nice way to start. Schenkel hits one over to right center field. A base hit for Lakin. And so she's 1 for 2 on the afternoon.
And as you said, Will, that's how we get it started. 1 hit, and hopefully, hits are contagious, as they say, and hopefully we can catch them in a hurry.
ICC as a team hitting at .354 this year. That home run by Langford, our 43rd home run of the year. Let's see what Haley Moore can do. Showing bunt. She bunts one down the first base line, but foul. Had a good idea there with her speed. She can turn that bunt into a base hit all day long.
Yeah, and actually I think we did surprise him with that bunt that time because second baseman had a little trouble getting back to the bag, and it would have been a close play if it would have been able to stay fair.
Moore hits from the right side, hitting at 396. 4 home runs, 40 runs batted in, and there's a pop-up on the infield. Calling for it is Ladner, but she dropped it. And they'll throw to second, though, and get the force. So the force out on Schenkel. So Moore, though, reaches base on the fielder's choice.
Yeah, and there was really nothing Schenkel could have done that time because if she would have kept going, would have thrown out. If she caught it, she drops it. All she could do is hope that she would have not picked it up in enough time to make the throw.
So Moore reaches on the fielder's choice, and here's Carver, the second baseman, and a strike call to Kat Carver. Kat today grounded or popped up to the first baseman, then was caught looking her last time. Now Moore has great speed. Down 5-1, will she run? There's a pitch is high. Carver, this week's MACJC Player of the Week, after help leading the Lady Indians to that best-of-3 opening round playoff series wins, 2-1 over East Central. Went 5 for 8 at the plate in the series, and that pitch is low. 2-1 the count. Get a couple more Lady Indians on deck, and we'll have the tying runner coming to the plate. I should say get a couple more Lady Indians on base, that is. And there's a grounder to third. Ladner makes the play to first, and in time. And that takes care of Carver and ICC here in the 5th. No runs a hit, no errors, and 1 was left. We go to the 6th, and the red and blue of Itawamba trail Gulf Coast 5-1.
ICC Sports on FM 95 is sponsored in part by Trustmark Bank in Tupelo, Fulton, and Columbus. Trustmark is a Mississippi-based bank. Yes, it's a large regional bank, but managed locally by the Baptist Student Union on the Fulton campus. The BSU is the oldest, largest, and most active religious club on campus, serving ICC students since 1954.
FM 95 sports coverage of ICC is sponsored by the McDonald's of Monroe, Itawamba, Chickasaw, Lee, and Pontotoc counties, Trustmark Bank, Larry Clark Chevrolet Buick GMC Cadillac, Sweet Cheeks Donut and Sandwich Shop, the National Guard, the Daily Journal, and Pison's Pizza.
If you have a question or need more information about Itawamba Community College, please visit our new and improved website at iccms.edu, including some classes for the upcoming intersession, which starts on May 19th. There are 2 terms of summer school in June and July. That's an ICC Spotlight brought to you by First National Bank in Pontotoc. Top of the 6th we go. Gulf Coast leads 11th ranked Itawamba 5-1. And here in the top of the 6th inning, it'll be the number 9, 1 and 2 hitters. That's Campbell, Hickman, and Kraft. And the left-handed hitting Campbell pitches low, 1-0. She walked and scored her last time up, part of that 4-run 5th, and that's the difference right now. Gulf Coast has scored 5 unanswered runs. 1 in the 4th, 4 in the 5th, and we're here in the top of the 6th.
Yeah, both those pitches have been low here to start the inning for Hops, so she's got to find her zone here and see if she can just rely on her defense, get a little ground out here, and try to get a 3-up, 3-down inning.
That'd be great. Get some momentum back to the red and blue of Itawamba. Pitches high in front of this huge crowd. Get them something to cheer about. But 3-0 the count to Campbell. She walked her last time up, grounded to Watterson at third, back in the 3rd. Taking all the way, strike call, 3-1 the count to Campbell. Kat Campbell this year hitting at .305, no home runs, 2 runs batted in. Has played in every game except 1 this year, and there is ball 4.
Just hoping to be able to get her to chase with a little drop ball that just dropped a little too much for the umpire's liking. A
few more clouds coming in here to the Fulton area.
But a beautiful forecast all weekend long for softball here at the MACJC State Tournament. Of course, we'll have every Lady Indian softball game for you here in the postseason. Just like last weekend, we'll have all of them this weekend. And hopefully, with a win this weekend, we can wrap up a spot in the regional next week. And Adam and I will be in South Mississippi somewhere for those broadcasts. There's a bunt attempt fouled down the first base line by Hickman. 0-1 the count.
Good job that time by Henderson to go out and get that one in foul territory. You saw the spin, had a funny spin on it, so catches the lip of the grass and had enough heat to possibly roll fair.
It's a good point. Just take all the doubt out of that play, and that's what Henderson did. There's the changeup, and this one will be...
Oh, that's a foul. That's
is
foul.
That foul ball?
That's foul. That's foul.
They're saying she's safe at first.
That's a foul ball. That's a foul ball all day, every day.
Down the first base line, the bunt attempt.
I'm going to say that. Then you've got interference on the runner heading to first. Because she never... Well, first off, I mean, you see the mark where she grabbed the ball outside the line, so that's just a horrible missed call.
That's tough. That's a tough break right there because now the runner reaches base, so Hickman gets the sacrifice.
And the tough thing about it is there's really no way to appeal that call because none of the other umpires on the infield was there to be able to see, but that was just a bad call. I'm trying to refrain from the word I actually want to use. It's not a too bad of a word, but my mom wouldn't be proud of me.
Kraft showing bunt. Now they'll throw down. The runner steals second. Hickman steals second. That's her 29th steal of the year in 31 attempts. She leads the team in that category. And here comes Andy Kirk. He's going to come out and talk with Kara Hopper and his infield. We'll take a 30-second timeout. We're in the top of the sixth. ICC in trouble, trailing 5-1.
ICC Sports on FM 95 is sponsored in part by First American National Bank in Fulton, doing business the old-fashioned way. First American National Bank with convenient locations all over Northeast Mississippi. By the Subways in Fulton, Tupelo, Saltillo, and Nettleton. Subway, eat fresh.
Andy Kirk is on his way back to the ICC dugout. An animated conversation between Coach Kirk and the Lady Indians infield. ICC trails 5-1 to Gulf Coast here at the state tournament in the top of the sixth. I think Coach Kirk got their attention.
Yeah, as you said, that was an animated, fiery, spirited speech.
Here's the first pitch is low and inside to Kraft, the catcher. Kraft reached on an error her last time up. Got a base hit her second time up, and then she was a strikeout victim back in the first. There's a strike called, 1-1 the count. An impressive 3 up and 3 down top of the first for Hannah Johnson. We would get a home run in the bottom of the second by Ashley Langford, and everything was groovy for ICC. But then there's pitch. Wow, tough. Evidently it was outside the strike zone. 3-1 the count.
Yes. I think some of the fans maybe have gotten to the head of the umpires. That one right there, I mean, I would say that's almost T-ball like.
There's a foul ball out of play. 3-2 the count. Thought it was 2-1, but he put up 3-1 last time, so that foul ball makes it full. Yep, 3-2 the count. But they get an unearned run in the top of the fourth, and there's ball 4. And then they get 4 runs in the top of the fifth. And now we're in a mess of trouble with the bases loaded again with no outs, and that's 3 walks for Hopper. That's uncharacteristic Kara Hopper. Earlier this year was not only named the MACJC Player of the Week, but also the National, the NJCAA National Player of the Week was Kara Hopper a few weeks ago. Bases loaded, nobody out, top of the sixth, and Gulf Coast leads 5-1.
Yeah, we just need to put a charge in one here and just put it across the plate. You know, say, hey, if they hit it, good. If they don't, we just got to find the strike zone because obviously it's shrunk up here in the last inning for some reason.
Yeah, I agree with that one. That pitch is low on the changeup. 2-0 the count, and there's nowhere to put Davis as the bases are loaded. You've got Campbell at third, Hickman at second, Kraft at first. Pitch is just high, maybe a little outside. Even Autumn Bonner kept that. I mean, she
held it there. If I'm the catcher, I'm still holding it there until the umpire makes me throw it back. That was ridiculous.
Here's the 3-0. Ball 4, and that walks in a run, and it's now 6-1 Gulf Coast.
I mean, unless the strike zone is the size of the softball right now, I mean, that was a good pitch right there. It's been one that he's called for a strike throughout the game, but all of a sudden this strike zone's just disappeared.
And here comes Andy Kirk, and will this be all for Kara Hopper here in the top of the 6th in a 6-1 game? Give you a chance while Andy Kirk decides if he's going to make a change to tell you about, if you need some more information about ICC softball and the 9 other intercollegiate athletic programs. You can follow ICC Athletics on Twitter at Let's Go ICC and visit our athletic website, letsgoicc.com. Both of those, along with the radio broadcast of our games, were named best in the state among the 15 community colleges here in Mississippi. That's an ICC spotlight brought to you by First National Bank in Pontotoc, and we will have a Predator Pest Control pitching change. We'll tell you who the new Lady Indian pitcher is in 60 seconds. It's 6-1 Gulf Coast, top of the 6th.
ICC Sports on FM 95 is sponsored in part by First National Bank in Pontotoc, with locations on South Main Street in Pontotoc and on Highway 15 in North Pontotoc. First National Bank, you're important to us, and we prove it.
And by JUCO Weekly. Log on to JUCOweekly.org to view scores, stats, news, photos, and videos from around the MACJC. Follow us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at www.jucoweekly.org.
ICC Sports on FM 95 is sponsored in part by Trustmark Bank in Tupelo, Fulton, and Columbus. Trustmark is a Mississippi-based bank. Yes, it's a large regional bank, but managed locally by the Baptist Student Union on the Fulton campus. The BSU is the oldest, largest, and most active religious club on campus, serving ICC students since 1954.
So we've got another Predator Pest Control pitching change for ICC. This time it's Kelsey Kessler, the sophomore, making her 21st appearance of the year for Itawamba. 3-1 record, a save, throwing 31 innings, giving up 35 hits, 23 runs. 20 of those were earned. She has 13 strikeouts in those 31 innings. She does have 20 walks. She's got a 4.52 earned run average, and Kelsey Kessler in for ICC. 6-1, Gulf Coast leads it here in the top of the 6th. Pitch is low and inside. 1-0 the count to Gaston.
Yeah, I don't know if say the umpire has changed the outcome of this game, but he's most definitely changed the complexity of this game here in this inning, as the strike zone finally finds one that there's been other pitchers closer than that. But, you know, you just want consistency out of the on-plate umpire, and we haven't had that here in the last few innings. And as I said, not taking away the lead that Gulf Coast has built on their own. I mean, they took advantage of our mistakes and things like that. But, yeah, he has really just rattled the team, and you've got to learn how to bounce back from that. We hadn't been able to.
2-1 the count to Gaston. Well, there's 3 walks in the inning for Hopper, and that's very uncharacteristic, obviously, for Kara. And that pitch is inside. You're right. It's that strike zone has definitely shrunk.
It's MIA right now.
Indians trailing 6-1 here in the 6th inning. There is ball 4 inside, and that will score a run. And it's now 7-1 Gulf Coast over ICC, with Jones County and Pearl River to follow.
Number 13, Butler.
And unless ICC can turn this one around, it looks like we'll be having to battle our way through the losers bracket. There's a strike called to Butler, the first baseman. 1 for 3 on the afternoon, now evening for Butler. Hits from the right side. Got a base hit in the second. There's a pop-up, and Carver makes the catch. Tries to tag the runner at second. She dives back safely. So a pop-up to Carver by Butler.
And ICC finally has its first out here. We've retired the first batter finally here in the top of the 6th. 7-1 in favor of Gulf Coast. Here's Ladner.
If I'm Gulf Coast right now, I honestly say don't swing the bat.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we've got bases loaded in this situation. Make her throw strikes, and we'll walk them in all day because the umpire is obviously not going to call anything for a strike.
First pitch is low, 1-0 the count. Kessler, the sophomore out of Abbeville, right outside Oxford, played at Lafayette County. 2-0 the count.
They're not a sponsor, but there's a really good restaurant that serves catfish out there.
That sounds good tonight. Pitch is high. 3-0 the count to the right-handed hitting third baseman Ladner. She grounded back to Hannah Johnson in the 2nd. Had an RBI ground out in the 4th, and then got a base hit, or I should say walked her last time up, and there's a strike called.
Yeah, that's pretty much what Gulf Coast has done in the situation. Looks like they're not going to swing the bat until they just get something they can tee off on. Right there it was.
And a fly ball to left coming in, making the catch. They're going to try to tag. The runner's going to be cut off. And a sacrifice fly to left by Ladner. That sacrifice fly brought to you by the Baptist Student Union, another great group from the BSU under the leadership of Chris Burrows, who's been in charge of the Baptist Student Union since 1996. So that sacrifice fly adds another run to the scoreboard. And it's now 8-1 Gulf Coast over ICC here in the top of the 6th. There's a fly ball into right field, and coming on and making the catch. And ICC finally gets out of this inning. But 3 more runs for Gulf Coast. We go to the bottom of the 6th. We've got 6 outs left. ICC trails Gulf Coast in the state tournament 8-1.
ICC Athletics on FM 95 Sports is brought to you in part by the National Guard. Always ready, always there, the National Guard. And by Pisons. Give Stan the Pizza Man a call at 862-4000.
ICC Sports on FM 95 is sponsored in part by First American National Bank in Fulton, doing business the old-fashioned way. First American National Bank, with convenient locations all over Northeast Mississippi. By the Subways in Fulton, Tupelo, Saltillo, and Nettleton. Subway, eat fresh.
Alongside Adam Gore, I'm Will Kohlmeyer. Chelsea Harlow, our studio engineer down at FM 95 Studios in Amory. 8-1. ICC finds themselves trailing Gulf Coast here in the first game of the 2014 MACJC State Tournament here at ICC. And the Lady Indians, maybe we need to be patient. If this strike zone is indeed this tight, then maybe we can get some walks ourselves.
Yeah, well, that strike zone tightened up after the fans kind of got after the official, and that's when he gets his feelings hurt. And you just don't do that if you're a home plate umpire. Let the players determine the outcome of this game. And not saying that he changed the overall outcome, but he most definitely changed the complexity and helped add 3 runs to the scoreboard, which can prove to be huge.
Yeah, we had 4 walks in that inning. They scored all those runs, 3 runs on just 1 hit. Well, let's see what we can do. Corey Watterson, Tara Hopper, and Emily Henderson, the meat of the order, the 3, 4, and 5 hitters for ICC here in the bottom of the 6th. And Briel, all she has to do is throw some strikes, leading 8-1. That first pitch is high. 1-0 the count to Watterson. Got a base hitter last time up. Popped up to the catcher her first time. There's a strike called. 1-1 the count to Watterson, who started the day hitting at .469, 12 home runs, 56 runs batted in. That pitch is high. 2-1 the count to Watterson. Her on-base percentage getting closer and closer to 500. It started the day at .491. She's 1 for 2 at the plate. That pitch is high. 3-1 the count to Watterson. Hopper is on deck. Henderson in the hole. And if any of these 3 reach, we'll see Langford And hopefully we'll get a little merry-go-round start. There's a liner to left, a base hit. Got the 3-1 count. Briel sent one down the pipe, and Watterson delivers the base hit to left.
It's been the first time in a long time, Will. We've got the leadoff batter on.
Good call by you, Adam. You have to go back to the first inning. Bottom of the first, we had the leadoff walk to Moore. She stole second, and she did not advance any further with nobody out. And here's Hopper. The first pitch is a strike called. 0-1 the count to Hopper with nobody out. Bottom of the sixth, ICC trails 8-1. Watterson, the runner at first. That pitch is low and inside, and the count is even at 1-1. Hopper 0 for 2 today. A pop-up to the shortstop, and then a ground out to Ladner at third. This one's popped up right over our heads in the ICC Alumni Association broadcast booth. Mark Todd, the Director of Alumni Affairs here at ICC, along with our Foundation Director, Jim Ingram. They spent part of their day over in the Pontotoc area. We've got the big ride tomorrow morning. Area cyclists have an opportunity to participate in the ICC Foundation riding the Tanglefoot Trail tomorrow morning. Registration at 7:30. The ride begins at 8 o'clock in Pontotoc, where it starts and ends. There's a ground ball. Ladner knocks it down. The throw is high, and that will allow the runner to go to third. So an infield single by Hopper. The throw is high by Ladner, and that allows the runner Watterson to go from second to third. So that's a good start. Runners at first and third. We got back-to-back base hits.
Yeah, big start there for the Lady Indians. And, hey, you know, so we talked about numerous times in baseball and softball. The beauty about it is there's no time limit. So if you can start stringing some stuff together and get back in this thing, I mean, we've seen crazier things happen.
So here's Emily Henderson in an 8-1 game, but there's nobody out, and we've got runners at the corners. There's a strike called, 0-1 the count. Emily 0 for 2 today, a ground out to third and a pop-up to short. Briel in the circle for Gulf Coast. And there's a ground ball to the right side, a diving play by Butler. She flips to the second baseman, covering, that's Davis. And that robs Henderson of a base hit, but the RBI ground out does score Watterson. Hopper goes to second, and it's 8-2.
Yeah, and that's one of those where, you know, if our bats are hot today, that gets through for a base hit, 2-run score. But, you know, hey, we did get the run across. That's the main thing. You just got to start chipping away at this thing and see if you can't just run into some hits and make something happen.
That was an unbelievable play by Butler at first. A web jam brought to you by the National Guard. That pitch is a strike called. She dove to her right, and she was no way she could get back up in time, but the second baseman Davis was coming from behind. She flipped it while she was on her belly and got it just in time to get Henderson at first. Here is Langford. She drove in our first run of the game with a towering homer to left in the bottom of the second. 1-1 the count to Langford with a runner at second. Hopper with one out. That pitch is high and outside. And it's 2-1 the count.
Once again, just got to continue to be patient at the plate. Try to get runners on either via the walk or just find something you can hit.
That pitch is low. 3-1 the count. And now the catcher, Kraft, is going to go out and talk to Briel.
You know, she's probably talking about what you talked about earlier, Will. Say, hey, look, you know, we've got 6-run lead right here. Just throw strikes. Rely on your defense, get some outs here, but you know, hopefully we can find some ways to get runners on the bags and just have a chance to sort of just slowly but surely start chipping away at this thing.
3-1 the count with one out here in the bottom of the sixth. Langford at the plate. She does have power with 10 home runs, taking on the way, and a strike called. 3-2 the count.
Yeah, good job laying off that one, as you said, taking the whole way. But a power hitter like that is tough to hang off on those high heat.
3-2, a liner to center field, and making the catch.
No.
They said she made the catch, and Hopper was going with the pitch, and she gets doubled up, and that double play brought to you by Pisons. Give Stan the Pizza Man a call tonight at 862-4000, 862-4000, and don't forget Pisons does deliver. We get one run in the inning, but
that just sums up the way the day's going right there. I mean, the breaks have beaten the girls all day long.
A terrific catch in center field by Campbell, a shoestring catch, and they double up the runner Hopper. We go to the top of the 7th inning. ICC trails 8-2.
ICC Sports on FM 95 is sponsored in part by Davis Ford in Fulton. Need a new car, van, or SUV? Give Davis Ford a call at 862-3711. By Coca-Cola, Coke, and ICC. Now that's a winning combination.
And by Sweet Cheeks Donut and Sandwich Shop in downtown Fulton. Sweet Cheeks is open daily for breakfast and lunch and is the only place in Fulton where you can get hot, freshly made donuts.
ICC Sports on FM 95 is sponsored in part by First National Bank in Pontotoc, with locations on South Main Street in Pontotoc and on Highway 15 in North Pontotoc. First National Bank, you're important to us, and we prove it.
And by JUCO Weekly. Log on to JUCOweekly.org to view scores, stats, news, photos, and videos from around the MACJC. Follow us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. That's www.JUCOweekly.org.
We head to the top of the 7th inning. It's 8-2 Gulf Coast. First game of this year's MACJC 4-team state tournament here at ICC. Kessler back in the circle for Itawamba. First pitch is a strike called. It'll be the number 8, 9, and 1 hitters, Richardson, Campbell, and Hickman. Don't forget you can stay up to date with events college-wide on our Twitter account at ItawambaCC. Pitch is low and outside. Our social media specialist, Maggie Caldwell, who is here tonight taking pictures of this game, runs that Twitter account at ItawambaCC. There's a bouncer up the middle, a base hit. They'll lead things off. Richardson started that 4-run top of the 5th with a home run. She, in fact, had 2 at-bats in that 5th inning. Gulf Coast has scored the last 3 frames. We scored 1 in the bottom of the 2nd.
This is going to be number 12 coming in as a substitution to run for the designated player.
And that is Haley Friend, a sophomore from Saltillo. So we jump out to the 1-0 lead in the bottom of the 2nd. It stayed that way until Gulf Coast scored an unearned run in the top of the 4th. And they scored 4 in the 5th, 3 in the 6th to take an 8-1 lead. We got 1 back in the bottom of the 6th. And we're in the top of the 7th now. Nobody out. Runner at first. And the pitch is a strike. 0-1 the count. Kessler in the circle, the 3rd pitcher of the day for Itawamba. Pitch is low. This is Campbell, the center fielder. She has walked her last 2 times up. Grounded out to the third baseman, Watterson. Corey made a nice play to get her back in the 3rd. There's a slap to the left side. Moore will run over and get the force at 2nd. Nice job by Haley Moore to get the force at 2nd. So Campbell reaches on the fielder's choice. And with 1 out here in the top of the 7th, we'll go to the top of the order. And this is Hickman, her 5th at-bat of the game.
Yeah, and she's been productive. She's, in my opinion, 2 for 4, but 3 for 4 on the day after that missed foul ball right there in front of the home plate umpire. But yeah, she's come out and done what you need a leadoff hitter to do. Let's give credit where credit's due. She's got on base 3 times today. She scored a pair of runs as well, and you look at it, that's really the difference in the game. I mean, we've had our leadoff runner on twice, once by error, once by a walk. So you know they've taken advantage of our errors, and they've played softball fundamentally sound today.
That's a nice game summary brought to you by Weatherall Printing. 8-2, Itawamba trails. Unless we can get a dramatic comeback, we'll be playing at 3 o'clock tomorrow against the loser of the Pearl River Jones County game that's coming up right after this one is over. Be a 2:40 airtime. with the Davis Ford pregame show in that First American National Bank first pitch at 3, at least scheduled at 3. There's a strike called. The two winners of today's games will play at 1 o'clock, but as we will see, this next game is supposed to start at 6, will not start at 6. We're in the top of the 7th. There's a grounder to short, Moore to second for the force. Nice job defensively there by ICC. As Hickman reaches on the fielder's choice, Campbell is forced at second. Now 2 outs, runner at first here in the top of the 7th, in an 8-2 game being led by Gulf Coast. And here's Kraft, the catcher.
Got to be careful. This is the hot part of the lineup, I guess you can say, today coming up here.
Kraft starting the day at .407, 2 home runs, 29 runs batted in. Has a .494 on-base percentage. Struck out her first time, got a base hit her second time up, then reached on an error, then walked her last time. Kessler deals a strike. 1-1 the count. 2 outs here in the top of the 7th. In case you're wondering, we'll have the number 7, 8, and 9 hitters in the bottom of the 7th for ICC. And there's a foul down the third base line. Need to get some folks to get on base and get that top of the order and get some of our big bats coming to the plate. And let's try to chip away at this thing. But we got to keep it at 8-2. They've got a runner at first with 2 outs here in the top of the 7th. Gulf Coast with 9 hits on the day. Fly ball, left field, and making the catch is Elder, and that takes care of Gulf Coast. Finally, we can put a donut on the scoreboard for Gulf Coast. First time we've been able to do that since back in the 3rd inning, brought to you by Sweet Cheeks Donut and Sandwich Shop. We're down to our final 3 outs. We need 6 to tie, 7 to win. We trail it 8-2, going to the bottom of the 7th.
ICC Sports on FM 95 is sponsored in part by Trustmark Bank in Tupelo, Fulton, and Columbus. Trustmark is a Mississippi-based bank. Yes, it's a large regional bank, but managed locally by the Baptist Student Union on the Fulton campus. The BSU is the oldest, largest, and most active religious club on campus, serving ICC students since 1954.
ICC Athletics on FM 95 Sports is brought to you in part by the National Guard. Always ready, always there, the National Guard. And by Pisons. Give Stan the Pizza Man a call at 862-4000.
We head to the bottom of the 7th. ICC ranked 11th in the country. Right now trailing Gulf Coast 8-2. ICC winners of 18 of our last 19 games. 37-11 starting the night. The number 1 team from the North, our 3rd straight North Division championship this year. But the South Division runner-up, Mississippi Gulf Coast, 33-16 on the year, leading this one 8-2.
Yeah, it really should be a 5-2 ball game right now, and that's a big difference in the game. I mean, you're looking at going down, instead of being down 6, you're down 3 in this situation. So you've got a team that's going to have a lot different mentality coming to the plate right now. So, hopefully, Karma can kind of at least, get us some runs back here, and we can start this team's made history all year. It'll be a big time history rally, if you will, for the Lady Indians.
We'll see what happens here. It'll be Elder, Bonner, and Schenkel for the Red and Blue of Itawamba. The 7, 8, and 9 hitters facing Briel. Straight called. 0-1 the count. That a couple innings ago was a ball.
That was a ball. And I tell you, the umpire's looking up, seeing a 6-run game, so he's wanting to get this thing over with as well.
Here's Elder, a liner stab by the shortstop. Elder hit it on the nose, but Hickman makes the nice play at short. She went to her knees to grab that liner, and there's 1 out.
Once again, as I said, if we're hitting the ball, if we're playing well today, that's down for a base hit for Elder. But instead, the Breaks are beating the girls today in this one, so we got to shake it off and get ready for tomorrow.
Here's Bonner, the catcher, taking all the way, ball high. Say, did we take your picture today or at a recent event here at ICC? Go to ICCimages.com to purchase your picture at discounted prices. Maggie Caldwell from our Community Relations Department taking lots of pictures here today.
And that goes for anyone listening at Pearl River or Gulf Coast or Jones today. She'll have photos from those games as well for purchase.
And there's a liner to left, a base hit by Bonner.
Actually, that was Arian Henry.
Oh, Arian Henry pinch hitting for Bonner. So that away, Henry comes up with a base hit. That'll help out her 306 batting average on the year. And here's Lakin Schenkel. Started the day hitting at 383. Got a ground out her first time up to short, and then got a base hitter last time up. 8-2. Itawamba trails here in the bottom of the 7th. So that first pitch is high.
That pitch was a strike a while ago.
Yes.
As Steve Diffie would say, consistently inconsistent.
That's right. So once again, that pitch is high. 2-0 the count. If we've taken your picture, and it doesn't have to be an athletic event. Yeah, we're community relations. We're at every athletic event, but also whether it's Indian Idol or Miss ICC or any of the concerts, center stage. If you'd like to purchase those pictures at discounted prices, go to ICCimages.com. That's an ICC Spotlight brought to you by First National Bank in Pontotoc. 2-1 the count to Schenkel with Henry at first. There's a liner to right, but right to the right fielder, Gaston, and that's 2 outs here in the bottom of the 7th.
Good idea by Schenkel that time, trying to turn on one to see if she could get one down the line. But as you said, everything hits the right field today. The right fielders had pretty easy outs. You either take a step forward or a step to the left and get the out. So, got to have a big 2-out rally here.
Yeah, we're down to our last out, Adam, and it's Haley Moore, the shortstop. She walked her first time up, stole second. She was stranded at second. And taking all the way, the first pitch is low. 1-0 the count. Grounded out to the third baseman, Ladner. And then reached on a fielder's choice her last time up. So 0 for 2 officially to Haley Moore. There's a strike called. 1-1 the count. 2 weeks from tonight, we've got the annual nursing pinning at the Davis Event Center. Then 2 weeks from tomorrow, we got the 3 graduations. The AA at 11, the AAS degree at 3, and then the GED at 6 o'clock, all at the Davis Event Center. That's what's coming up at ICC. Brought to you by our friends at McDonald's. McDonald's, I'm loving it. And I would love a huge rally here. This pitch is high. 3-1 the count to the right-handed hitting shortstop for ICC, Haley Moore. Three and 1 the count. The runner at first. 2 outs. Bottom of the 7th. And that is ball 4 behind Haley Moore. She had to get out of the way. That pitch was heading toward her heels.
Yep. And a little self-preservation that time, getting out of the way of it.
Cat Carver.
Let's see what Cat Carver can do. If nothing else, let's end on a little bit of a positive note so we can bring some momentum into that losers bracket game tomorrow in case we can't rally here in the bottom of the 7th.
Absolutely. You took the words out of my mouth. That's what we said. We need to close strong. Let's fight like this is a 1-run ball game right now. That's what you want to do. Just fight like it's a 1-run ball game and keep getting these runs in.
Carver on the day, 0 for 3. First pitch is a strike called. Carver started the day hitting at 316, 3 home runs, 31 runs batted in. A .504 slugging percentage, and I would love to see an extra base hit right here. There's a smash to short. Nice play by Hickman to flip to second, and that takes care of ICC in the 7th. No runs. Hit, no errors, and 2 are left as we begin our Aiken Veterinary Services postgame report. Gulf Coast wins the first game of the state tournament this year, 8-2 over ICC. We'll have more of our Aiken Veterinary Services postgame report. Aiken Veterinary Services, 100% equine practice dedicated to treatment and care of the equine athlete, located on Country Club Road in Tupelo. That's Aiken Veterinary Services. Special thanks to Dr. Mark Aiken, who has sponsored all of our postgame reports this year in softball and in baseball. Dr. Mark Aiken is committed to providing personal attention to the unique concerns of each individual horse owner. We'll have more of our Aiken Veterinary Services postgame report coming up. 8-2, Gulf Coast knocks off nationally ranked Itawamba.
ICC Sports on FM 95 is sponsored in part by First American National Bank in Fulton, doing business the old-fashioned way. First American National Bank, with convenient locations all over Northeast Mississippi. By the Subways in Fulton, Tupelo, Saltillo, and Nettleton. Subway, eat fresh.
ICC Sports on FM 95 is sponsored in part by Davis Ford in Fulton. Need a new car, van, or SUV? Give Davis Ford a call at 862-3711. By Coca-Cola, Coke, and ICC. Now that's a winning combination.
And by Sweet Cheeks Donut and Sandwich Shop in downtown Fulton. Sweet Cheeks is open daily for breakfast and lunch and is the only place in Fulton where you can get hot, freshly made donuts.
Are you looking for a better job? Let Itawamba Community College help. Earning a college degree has never been more important, and it's easier than you think. ICC has the programs to train you for a career that's in demand now. We're convenient with locations in Fulton, Tupelo, and Belden. We offer flexible scheduling options, including online and shortened arrow terms. And we're the most affordable in the entire state. Financial aid is also available to those who qualify. For more information, call us today or check out our website. Your future starts here at ICC.
You love us in print, you'll love us online. Being a Daily Journal subscriber sets you apart from the rest. Not only do you enjoy the knowledge, power, and connection that comes from having the Daily Journal delivered to your home, you can also enjoy unlimited access to our website, djournal.com, 24/7. Be sure to visit djournal.com/total access. Click Activate Now and claim your free unlimited access today. If you're not a home delivery subscriber, check out our web-only subscription options beginning as low as $6 a month.
Will Kohlmeyer, Adam Gore, welcome you back to our Aiken Veterinary Services postgame report. Unfortunately, the news is not good to report tonight for the ICC family as the 11th-ranked Lady Indians get upended by Gulf Coast 8-2. The final line score 8-9-1 for Gulf Coast, 2-7-2 for ICC. Brio gets the win. Johnson, a rare loss for ICC. Hannah falls to 17-5 on the year, and that's the final line score tonight, brought to you by Pisons. Give Stan the Pizza Man a call tonight at 862-4000, 862-4000. Just a tough night at the office. It started out okay for us, Adam, with the home run by Langford, and we had a 1-0 lead going in the top of the fourth. And then we started making some mistakes, and Gulf Coast began to capitalize.
Yeah, I think those rally geese may have been out of the coastal areas. They flew over, and things went south for us. But, yeah, you know, it's a day that, as you said, you know, a tough day at the office. The breaks beat the girls in this one. We had some errors that Gulf Coast was able to cash in on today and turn into runs. We've had some calls that didn't go our way. You actually would have felt like this was a road game for the Lady Indians with some of the calls that went against us today. But, hey, that's part of it. You know, you'll talk to Coach Kirk if he comes up here in a minute. You'll hear him say, hey, that's part of softball. You've got to know how to bounce back, rally, and, you know, in a heavyweight championship, there are going to be some blows landed. You just got to know how to land one back, and we didn't do that today. So, you know, it's one of the I'm just going to put it out there. It's one of the worst games we played in at least the last 15, 20 games. And, you know, hopefully we've got it out of our system now. We can go on a run Saturday and get to Sunday play. And I tell you what, once you get that championship game, yeah, we'll have to win too, but it's not impossible.
No, it's not. And that game summary by Adam, brought to you by Weatherall Printing. 8-2, ICC loses to Gulf Coast. We're going to talk with Andy Kirk in just a bit, brought to you by Auto, Air, and Electric here on our Aiken Veterinary Services postgame report. Don't forget Dr. Mark Aiken and his folks at the Veterinary Services there in Tupelo on Country Club Road. They understand the special role your horse plays in your life, and we're dedicated to becoming your partner in your horse's health care. We treat your horse as we would our own. Our goal is to practice the highest quality medicine and surgery with compassion and an emphasis on client education. That's Dr. Mark Aiken and his veterinary services there on Country Club Road in Tupelo. We're being joined right now by ICC head coach Andy Kirk. This interview brought to you by Auto, Air, and Electric. And Andy, I tell you what, we haven't had one of those games in a while, have we, partner?
No, we sure haven't. That was, you know, Mama said there'd be days like this, and that was definitely one of those. Anything we did, you know, you get to this point in the game, you got to be able to field the ball in the dirt. And we didn't field the ball in the dirt. We've been practicing that all week because we knew they were a singles type hitting team and going to bunt a lot and run a lot and just didn't make the plays when the time came.
Well, that hurts, and we lose 8-2. Things started out nicely. Hannah was pitching well there at the beginning, and we get the home run by Langford. She put a charge into that one, and we had the 1-0 lead, and we were cruising going to the top of the fourth.
That's exactly right. We had trouble with the bottom of their lineup. Well, I know we walked the number 9 hitter there a couple times. When we gave up the solo home run was a mistake pitch, probably bad pitching coach calling a bad pitch right there, but she hits it out. Still 2-1 there, and not a lot going bad, but then we walk the next girl, and then we don't field a bunt. Next thing you know, it's first and second, and then the wheels kind of fall off for us there. And that's the MO that Gulf Coast has, is they try to get that one big inning, and they get that one big inning, and we tried to stay with Hopper as long as we could, and then we're going to conserve a little pitching for tomorrow, to see what our bats could do, since our bats, give it to Brill. She threw well. She threw really well. We knew she'd been hurt some, and she was just now getting back to 100% strength, but I thought our bottom of the order did really good of working counts there, and our top order was just a little anxious and trying to do a little bit too much today. So maybe we'll get them settled down a little.
Oh, that sounds good. And now we've watched this game between Jones and Pearl River. We'll have the loser of this one tomorrow at 3 o'clock. And with this year's team, that was just our second loss in over a month. I think we've won 18 of our last 20. We still have the folks that we can make a run, and it makes it a little tougher going through the losers bracket, but that's the beauty of the double elimination event. We live an extra day.
That's exactly right. We get to live an extra day and actually get a little bit extra rest here, to not play the first game tomorrow. We'll play the 3 o'clock game, and we'll go with Montana Hawkins. Didn't have to use her at all today, so she'll be fresh. And Johnson had to throw back-to-back days last weekend, so she's ready to go either in that game, or if we, once we win that game, go to the second game at 5 o'clock.
That's right. And, of course, all we need is one win tomorrow, and we get into the regional next week.
That's exactly right. That's our number one goal right now, is take care of that first W to get in the regional, and then just try to work your way through the tournament.
All right, Andy, thank you so much for joining us, partner. Win or lose, you're always joining us, and we appreciate your graciousness.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, Andy Kirk joins us before and after every game, brought to you by our friends at Auto, Air, and Electric. We're going to